Jody back. I don't know if you saw my video, I think 2 videos ago. I had mentioned that we were going to be going to Hawaii for 2 weeks, and we are back now, so I am making my video that explains what I brought with for cloth diapers, how I used them while we were traveling, and kind of how I made it work and if I would change anything. So I hope you enjoy this video. If you are planning on going out of town for any reason, if you are going to be going through airports, transferring planes, or being gone out of your house for longer than just a few days and having to do laundry in another facility, I hope this video helps you out. So what I brought with, I have my notes here, so why I look down, that's why. So what I brought with my 6 covers. I have only 6 covers that are one size. I have one that I made myself, 2 buttons covers, an unbranded cover, a sweet pea cover, and a best bottoms cover. I will insert a picture of all the stuff that I brought with just so you can see what it was, but those are the covers I brought with. And then I brought with 14 flour sack towels, 2 glitter farts flats, the stretchy flats. I love those. They're my favorite. I wish I could buy more. 3 Imagine bamboo flats that I got off of Kelly's Closet, I believe. 1 not so flat flat. And so those were the flats that I brought for a total of 20 absorbent pieces that I brought with. And then I also just packed a few extra receiving blankets, both for using as blankets, and if I did need extra absorbency, I had those. I ended up not needing them for diapers, but I did have those packed with. I brought with my 15 fleece liners, so I put those in my overnight diapers because he usually poops right in the morning, and so I wanted something to catch that and make it a little easier to get rid of that. I did Dunkin' Swish, so that was easier for me with the liners. I was going to do disposable liners, but they do not wick away moisture, and I know when he has the flour sack towels on, he does not like to be wet in them, so I use the fleece liners to help wick away moisture. So usually in most of the diapers I did put a fleece liner in. There's a few that I didn't if I knew that I was going to be able to change them right away, but most of the time I did use a fleece liner just to help with the moisture and then with the poops overnight. I brought with my 30 wipes and then a wipes container. So on the planes and when we were out and about, I did use disposable wipes like I normally do, but while we were at the condo, I did have my regular cloth wipes, and so I brought them with dry with 1 wipes cube from Diaper Dogs, and I made that once we got there, so then I had those wipes for that duration. I did have to make wipes 2 other times, and for those times I just used just baby soap. I just mixed in to use that for the solution. I do like to have pre-wet wipes. I just think it makes diaper changes easier. And I could use just water, but I do like to have a little soap for the extra scent and then to make sure that he's getting extra clean. I think in the future I may bring with more cubes or a different kind of wipes solution. I can't think of what they're called. Oh, wipe spits. Bring with a different kind of wipe spits, but the soap, baby soap worked for me. I had it with anyways for bathing him. I brought with 3 wet bags, 1 large wet bag, and then 2 medium-sized wet bags. My large wet bag and one of my medium-sized wet bags are wet dry bags, so it was able to hold flats and 1 cover for clean, and then the dirty ones in the back. And then I brought with my bandy, which I didn't end up using most of the time. I have gotten really good with just being able to fold the flats on and then tuck in the side, and so I don't use the bandy all the time. I did use it for the glitter farts flats because they're not long enough to fold all the way around him, and a couple others. I had some of my flats pre-folded already, like in my pile here, and so I just threw those in the container, or threw those in our bags and used them that way, and so they were couple of the folds I do, I can't tuck that in, but most of the time I do. I'll show you how I do it. So I have the not so flat here, and I just fold it in half, just like in half, and then in half again, and then I just in a square like this for when I put them away. I don't like fold them special, so when I go to put it on, I just unfold it to the one square where it's folded twice, and then take one corner and it kind of folds up like this to make kind of like a triangle piece right here with this extra hanging down. And then I just fold over the square side from the other. I'll do a separate video on how I fold this, but I've gotten really good at just being able to do this like at the diaper change on the changing table or wherever I'm changing him. And so I just would fold my flats. Okay, it's a little funny right now because I'm doing it and the light's making it not be able to see. But then you have the absorbent part right here, and then you can tuck this over, up, and around, and I can tuck this in, and it's big enough to fit around him without any kind of closure. But I've gotten pretty good at just doing this right when I'm changing him, so I don't need to have them folded already. So when I do take them out of the wash, most of the time I just fold them up, you know, like you would a towel or something, and put them away. But sometimes I did have them pre-folded if I had a little extra time, or wanted them pre-folded for in my diaper bag or in the just in a stack, so then they were easier to use. I just had to open them up and throw them on. I do have one cover that has flaps on. It has flaps on the front and back, so I can just pad fold a flat in there. So I did do that a couple times too. If I was using this cover for the day, I would just have them pre-folded into the pad fold and then be able to just slide one right in here when I was using this cover. Then for washing, I did bring with some of our own detergent. So I was using Tide. Here, I'm kind of going back and forth between Tide powder and Kirkland. The sun is shining in my eyes. I'm sorry. I'm going to pull the shade down. Okay, that'll help a little bit. It makes it a little dark on my forehead, but oh well. Then I'm not like squinting. So I've been going back and forth between Tide and the Kirkland liquid, and so I had a little bit of Tide left. I just filled up this wipes container, and so it's a little powdery, but I just dumped what I had left in here, and then my scoop fits right in here, so I could just take that with. I've seen another YouTuber that used this. Actually is the canister, and she actually measured out how many of the formula scoop was enough for what she used for her washing, but I did not do that. I just could fit this right in there with the detergent, so that worked. And then this was not enough detergent for every time I wash, so we did end up having to buy more detergent for washing our regular clothes and then finishing up the diapers for the week, which wasn't an issue. We just bought it at the local grocery store there and used it for both diapers and regular clothes. So that is all that I brought with. It was plenty. I did not run out. I was washing every other day or every like 2 days. So if I didn't wash today, I would wash tomorrow or the next day, like every other or every 2 days. Usually just, I could have gone longer. I had the absorbency to go longer, but with how hot and humid it was there, I didn't want the diapers sitting, and then I just like to always have clean diapers and not have to worry about, you know, when I was going to wash them. I just would wash them. So I will insert some clips of how I washed them and then how I dried them. So I would throw them in right away in the morning when we got up after his poop usually. So that poop wasn't sitting extra long. It was getting washed. And so I dunk and swish all the poopy diapers. That's something that I do at home. I actually got my sprayer. I'm going to show you. You're going to get a sneak peek at this. So, I got my sprayer while we were gone. I'm excited to hook it up. Diaper Dogs sprayer. I'm going to get that hooked up, do a video on how I hook that up and how I use that for the first time. I'm really excited about that. But I just dunk and swish at home, and so I just continue to dunk and swish there. The liners did help a little bit. His poop does kind of fall off the liners, so I did have to do both the flats and the fleece liners when I dunk and swish, but it didn't make any issue for me. And then I just stored them right in the wet bag. In the bathroom, I would hang it on the doorknob, or I had it in the diaper bag when we were out and about. So I just throw all the diapers right in the wash, do a quick pre-wash on them, and then fluff them out and bulk it up with baby clothes or the older boys' clothes. Do a heavy duty wash, and then I dried all the flats and the wipes, all the absorbency things, except for this. I was told not to dry my not so flat, so I did not dry this one, but I dried all of the other flats just because of the humidity. I didn't think they would dry quick enough where they'd kind of be sitting. It was super humid there. The first few days, actually, some of the locals were even saying that it was abnormally humid, so I didn't want to have to worry about them getting like mildewy or taking too long to dry. And I also did not have a drying rack, so I didn't have an option to hang a bunch to dry, and so I just threw those in the dryer with the clothes and dried them like I normally dry clothes. And then, like I said, I hung all the PUL pieces actually around either over a chair or around the pack and play that we used. So I just would lay them there and then flip them over after a little bit, so they got dry that way. It worked out really nice. Here's the washer I've had to wash with. It's just a Frigidaire front loader, small little washer, and I don't like it because like I just pulled these out of underneath this rubber thing, and so like you can see they're full of nasty dirty water. So I usually have just been hand washing them in the sink, so then I can throw them in the dryer. And then I've been drying all of the diapers just because I kind of want them done quicker, and then also it's hot and humid here, so I didn't think they'd dry as fast. So I just have all the flats in here that I've been using, and I will go ahead and dry those now. And this is how I've been drying our covers. So and wet bags, I just hang them right over the pack and play like this, and then kind of flip them halfway through the day. And then I also have my ergo drying because we went hiking yesterday. I don't know if you can see, and I fell in the mud and it got dirty, so I washed it here and I'm drying it. I just needed it clean enough to go on the airplane. I will scrub it once we get home because you can still see it's dirty, and that makes me very sad, but that is how I do that. And then we also have this fan here that kind of blows and dries those things a little quicker. Here's how I've been storing my dirty ones. So I just throw them right in my large wet bag here, hanging on the bathroom door doorknob here, and hang. When this does get really heavy, it kind of pulls right here, and on one of my other ones you can see it's ripping. I'll show you that. So you can see right here it's just ripping from like this being hung, and then heavy in the wet bag just rips a little bit. So when it gets super full, I've been just setting it on the floor. Focus. Because I don't want it to rip too bad. So that is how I've been storing the dirty diapers. That was the same wash routine I use at home for as far as how often I wash. And then I did ask on one of the Facebook pages kind of how to use, it was a front loader washer, so I asked how to use a front loader. But I really just ended up kind of doing the same wash I do at home. A normal wash with a little bit of detergent, like line 1 of detergent for the pre-wash, and then a heavy duty wash, heavy soil level, extra rinse with line 3 or 4 of detergent, depending on how much I was bulking it with. And it worked okay. I didn't have any issues with anything. I have never used a front loader before, so I was unfamiliar with how they work, and I was kind of nervous about the fact that there was no like water in it. Whenever you see on TV, or the couple times that I've seen at the laundromat, it fills up with water and you see the like soapy water whooshing around in the thing, like on Stuart Little, how he's like in the washer. And that didn't happen. Like, my clothes were wet, but they were just like flapping around and not, it didn't seem like there was enough water in there for me. But the people that I talked to on Facebook that use front loading washers say that that is normal and that they work by just slapping around the clothes and not actually like running water through them, which is weird. Everything came out clean. I didn't have any problems with stink or staining, or any issues with him getting any irritation or anything from things not being rinsed properly. So they worked. He wanted to come say hi. Oh, thank you. You can give me kisses. So that's how I did my wash. It was super easy. I didn't have any issues with that besides being unfamiliar with the front loader, but it worked out really well that way. So I used about 2 to 3 covers a day. So I would use, you know, one fresh cover right away in the morning, alternate it throughout the day, and then use one of the dirty covers I had for overnight. I like to use I didn't like to use my homemade one or the unbranded one for overnight just because I wasn't sure how they would work. I really like to use, excuse me, I really like to use the Sweet Pea one for overnight or the Best Bottoms or Buttons ones. They just seem to work better for overnight. I didn't have to worry about them leaking or not. And then I also used my Imagine Bamboo flats for overnight because I knew they were my most absorbent flats and I wasn't going to have to worry about changing him in the middle of the night or him waking up wet. The flour sack towels last long enough for us to use for during the day, like just a couple hours, but I knew from experience with, do you want some milk? So from my video going out of town with cloth diapers, I knew that overnight the flour sack towels wouldn't have lasted, so I did use the bamboo ones for that. And then I didn't have to change, so we flew from Minneapolis right here to Los Angeles, which was like a 3-hour flight, and then from Los Angeles to Kauai, Hawaii, so that was about 5.5 hours. And I just put him in either the Glitter Farts flat for the short, the bamboo flat for the longer flight, because I figured it was about the same, or shorter actually, than the time he'd be sleeping, so I wouldn't have to worry about that. Of course, if he pooped on the plane, I would have changed him, but I ended up not needing to change at all on the planes. Then on the way back, it was the same. I put him in for the flight back from Hawaii, it was 5.5 hours. I put him in a bamboo, and then the shorter flight, I put him in the Glitter Farts. So that worked out perfectly for me. I didn't have to worry about that. I did change him at the airport right before we took off, and then on the layover I had a little bit. And so changing in the airport was kind of difficult. Minneapolis was great. They had changing tables in their bathrooms, so that was easy. But when we got to Los Angeles and Seattle, I'm thinking too, there wasn't, let me think, there wasn't changing tables in the main women's bathroom, and there was like a nursing station, but there was always people in there and not enough time for me to like sit around and wait. There was like a line, and the one lady was in there for a long time, and so I couldn't use the changing table at the airport, and that was kind of frustrating. I ended up having to change him right in the stroller. Like I took the car seat part out of the stroller, laid him down in the stroller, and changed him that way. Just because I didn't have any other option. I could have laid him on the floor, but there was no changing tables available, which was kind of different for me. I've never really experienced not having a spot for a changing table in a women's bathroom. So that is how I changed him while we traveled both ways. And then I would just change him, you know, wherever we would going for the day, I would change him in the bathrooms. There was one day we went on a hike, and another day where we were kind of like outside doing activities, so I did end up changing him just right in the car. We rented a van, and so we just laid him down on the floor and changed him right there. It was super easy. I've done that in my van here at home, so I don't have any problems doing that. So that's pretty much how I made cloth diapering work while we were on out of town. And kind of what I had to do while we were gone. It was super easy. I had no issues with it. I would definitely do it again. I talked to some people who said just to use disposables, don't worry about cloth, you know, enjoy yourself, whatever, but I knew that I wanted to use cloth diapers. I enjoy cloth diapering. Cloth diapering is something that I am proud of and I feel really works for my family, and so I wasn't going to go buy disposables and use those just because we were going out of town. And it worked out, worked out perfectly for us. There was no problems other than, you know, having to find a different way to change him in the airport. One thing that I would change is getting some better wet bags. I noticed that my wet bags, I have one Sweet Pea one that I didn't bring with, but my other ones are kind of off brands and not really like well-known, super expensive brands, and they don't hold stink very well for as far as like sitting in your diaper bag closed all day. They worked fine at the condo. I left them unzipped and hanging on the doorknob, and they worked fine there. You didn't get stink, but when we had them just in the diaper bag for like a few hours at a time where we were out for the day, you're gonna try to eat yourself there? The sun's in your eyes. They would smell, and then it made my whole diaper bag smell, so I had to take everything out and air it and wash everything from that. So that was kind of frustrating, just not having a good enough wet bag. If I didn't get new wet bags, just not store it in the diaper bag. Either hang it, you know, on the stroller while we were out, or just carry it separately, which is kind of an inconvenience because you have so much other stuff to carry. You're gonna try to eat yourself again? But yeah, when you have so much to carry, it's kind of hard to worry about carrying an extra wet bag. It's nice just to throw in the diaper bag. So I hope you enjoyed this video. If you do have any questions about what I did or any comments on how I made it work for us while we were out, please go ahead and leave those in the comments. I would be excited to read those. And I am gonna now try to be uploading regularly now that we're back and things have slowed down with school starting and summer and all that. I have a few videos planned, and then also I'm gonna keep up on my reviews. I have other diapers to review that I have not done yet. So I am gonna do that. Please make sure that you are subscribed so you don't miss the videos that I have planned. And we hope you have a wonderful day, and we'll see you next time.